So, when you went into your PhD, if you go back to your days in Taiwan, what was that? What was that new thing about the entire PhD journey? What was that something that you felt? Oh, wow! Wait a minute, this was not how I thought things would be. Was there anything like that?
So I'll take a bit time for this answering this question. This is one of my favorite questions to answer. That it was not very shiny at the beginning. I was not having a good time at the time when I actually thought of having a PhD. So it is very disappointing for many people to believe that nowadays. Even I hear all those words, so then I'll be believing what I'm saying, so that kind of thing. So, but those days, generally, my career plan was very different from right now. I never knew that IITs they have finance. First of all, so I end up at IIT teaching art, which is also surprising. If I go back to maybe 10 years back to myself and I ask this question, I pose that, okay, where you want to see yourself in 10 years? So that will be a very different from myself. So I wanted to see myself as like very easygoing person, as an urban person, living in the urban center like Calcutta or Delhi or Bombay or Bangalore. Those are the days where you practice your art at the same time you find a lecturership at a college, which is at the same time it is connected with your craft, and also you can practice both as a professional career as an artist, also as an educator. So life is very fine, and every day you are learning a lot of things. You are like because like I think people who are in our profession they are having this kind of job lecturership at a university or college or art academy. They're very
Right,
fortunate to see
right,
a bunch of
right,
creative
right.
people. They're always interacting, they're learning. So that is also a kind of great experience and great career choice for me. So, but those days, it was like that if you have an MFA, I'm talking about 20 years back, roughly 20, 25 years back. So those days, the concept was that if you have an MFA, so life will be very easy, fairly easy, and then you have a professional career at hand. So you are a good candidate for lecturership. So my idea was that okay, after my masters, I'll get a good masters, MFA, then I'll pursue my career in art. So at the same time, I'll go for maybe some short-term art residencies or maybe some experience for say foreign experience like Charles Wall's India Trust Award. So they also have a
Right,
visiting
right, right.
fellowship, something like that. So I wanted to have that. So maybe for 6 months I breathe there. I see the what was going on over there. Like that was my mindset, and then come back and join as a lecturer. So have an easy life. I'll stay in urban center. I'll do my work and
Yeah.
concentrate on maybe some teaching, and that too not research. By the way, not research, not publishing anything, not guiding a PhD, but to teach my craft. That means painting, drawing, a mural, these kind of things. So that was my initial idea. So, but then after my masters, right after my masters, I had some personal issues, and I was searching for a job. So I fortunately I got a job even before my MFA result was out. So I was hired as a school teacher, a full-time school teacher at a school which is run by Birla, which is also called Girls High School. It's in like southern part of Calcutta. Very well-known school, and
Yeah.
the job was also very nice. It was initially it helped me a lot. So I then very soon after I married. My wife is also, by the way, is also from art college, from the same art college, Government Art College. She also has an art background, making our environment again, which is very pro art, visual art kind of thing. So right after that, my choices were again. It was like that. Okay, I'll break this thing. So I was working for maybe 2 3 years at a school. So every day I'm teaching the same kind of thing. So one, it was very monotonous. I wanted to break away. At that time, it was 2006, 2007, around that time. So by the time there was a boom, art boom coming in the market, India market, India was seeing that art prices in India, it was booming, skyrocketing. So people, they were getting crazy. There are a lot of buyers, a lot of money flowing. So people can think of those days until 2008 recession. So people can think of having a career as a professional painter or painter, or sculptor or graphic designer in India, which was never before. No one witnessed such kind of things even during my father's age or maybe before that. No one
Mm. Mm-hmm.
have seen such kind of things. There are a lot of new art fairs which are taking place, professional exhibitions, new galleries which are
Mm.
sprouting everywhere. So
Right.
that time I was thinking, oh, it's good time to have a kind of career choice, and I can take a different path. So I'm now prepared to get a job. So let us see the world. But unfortunately, by the time these scholarships, if you see, they're a big deal. If you see 1960s, 70s,
Mm-hmm.
leading Indian artists, say, some to name, for example, Jogen Chaudhary
Right.
or even Suhas Roy, artists. So they had this residency programs, like they visited Western countries, France, Germany, Italy. There are a lot of these kind of fellowships which are available, scholarships which are available,
Mm-hmm.
short-term residency programs, long-term residency programs, masters programs, different kind of programs, which was there until 1990s. So from the
Right.
1990s, mid 1990s, many of them, due to some strange reason, they disappeared, especially for fine arts. They
Okay.
disappeared. And by the time, no one was thinking about a career in PhD in fine arts, frankly speaking. Maybe here and there are exceptions. I'm not talking about exceptions.
Mm.
So people, mostly professional artists, they will look for a short residency in a country. Better if
Mm.
they can find a 1 year PhD plus, 1 year MA program in UK, Glasgow
Mm.
School of Art or something like that. Then they come
Mm.
back and start teaching at a university. So that was the scenario by the time. So I was also following the course. So I prepared myself. I was applying everywhere, but no one. Even there was a very famous scholarship. It was Monbusho, Japanese Monbusho, and from 2000 onwards, they stopped giving fine art fellowships. There were other research areas, dentistry, fisheries, or education, or political science, but not in fine arts. So some to name robotics, mechanical
Mm-hmm.
engineering, different kind of things.
Mm.
So one can pursue. I have seen a lot of our teachers also in art college and Kala Bhavan. Many of them, they pursued those kind of scholarship. It was not there. So
Mm-hmm.
only visible option was Chinese government scholarship, and it was also very hard to get, tough competition. So
Right.
I applied twice. So then I got this Chinese government scholarship by MHRD, and then I was still believing that okay, I'll get a different kind of career path, and it will
Mm.
change my career. It changed my career, by the way, but not the same changes that I was believing or I was thinking, dreaming that time. So China was a different experience altogether. China, I end up in a city which is very near to Beijing, and it was a school, Northeast Normal University, like you said in the beginning. So it was a very nice school, and they have a school of fine arts. But the problem over there is that very few, you can count them on hand. The people who can speak English actually. So absolutely Chinese. And I was like, when I was taking this flight, someone told me that you like. I was not aware that okay, I have to speak Chinese. Like, no one told me. So there's someone, some senior, he told me that okay, you just require two words, ni hao and xie. Ni hao is just hello, how are you, and
Hello.
xie
Hi.
means
Yeah.
thank you. And my life was miserable. I can write a book on my experience, like,
In
and
China.
in China, like it was very difficult. People even our this signage, this like if
Mm.
you don't speak a word, then you make some hand signs or something to make people understand. But in China, it is very different. It's completely different. Like their signage is also different, and their pronunciations, everything is very different. So if you don't know Chinese and you end up there without having a guide or person who can be there with you to help you out, it will be very difficult. So, but I picked up Chinese, and there were regular classes for Chinese. So I learned Chinese fair enough. Like within few months, I can speak Chinese, and that was a savior until now. I can say I can't read that well, but I can speak. So wherever I go in Asian countries, it is also some advantage that I enjoy. Like I went to
Mm-hmm.
Malaysia, I went to Indonesia, I went to Singapore, I went to Thailand, I went to Hong Kong, everywhere. So Chinese is some of this, like it is one of those languages which is well spoken in all across Asia, and it is felt easier for me to communicate, to talk to people, even while riding a taxi or taking a bus or taking directions, buying things. So it is really a great kind of
Right,
benefit for
right.
me. Right?
So
So but in
in
China,
yeah.
um, I studied diploma because it was fairly 1 year course, 1 year language and 1 year Chinese course. It was a sorry 1 year diploma course. So I taken that, and my wife, by the time I was ending there, so my wife was expecting. So she moved to India, and 2010 also I had my son. Um, so I also, after finishing there, I moved to India also in 2010, early 2010. So that those days, it was again, I was searching for job, and you will not believe. Um, by the time the market changed, I was not getting any job for about more than 8 months. I was completely unemployed. Money is going like water because I have a newborn kid, and I
So these are, by the way, for all our, student audiences, this is like great source of inspiration for all of you. So don't just worry, that you are sunk into certain kind of a situation and you don't know what to do. Keep going. That's the message that I guess Ritwij is trying to give over here, I
yeah,
guess. Yeah. So yeah,
yes.
Ritwij.
So then, by the time I was, even that time also, I was not thinking PhD as a career choice because I already had a foreign degree, and I was thinking that based on that, I'll find a job. But due to some unfortunate event, even I was shortlisted for different jobs, government jobs, but I was not getting any. So it was very disappointing. Finally, my wife told me that why not you go for a PhD? At least there will be some scholarship money. We can live with that. So you can earn something and then you can send us back, or maybe we will live together with you. The scholarship is high. So that time I also started searching, but it was again the same story. For fine art, very few, and that too practice based. If you look at, say, UK or France, several European countries, they have this practice based PhD. But the tuition fee is skyrocketing. I mean, say it is sky high, and very few places it is almost impossible, rare to find a scholarship that is full paying scholarship. I got an opportunity in a Canadian university. I don't want to name. UK university also. They gave me one position. Two university of actually in UK. But they are saying it is not possible for us to pay you for like full scholarship. You can have a partial scholarship, then you can come here and find a job or something. But I was not sure that with my skill set, what kind of jobs I'll get there, or will be like going into some uncertainty with my having my family there. So then I talked to my Chinese professors. Um, so he was very kind. His name is Professor Su Xiaomin. Although he can't speak English, we had this exchanges in Chinese. So he told me, he suggested me that if you're looking for having a PhD with scholarship, China will not be a place because China, you have to, although there are scholarship available in China at that time, but I never wanted to get back to China for some reasons. And also he said, okay, you have to write your thesis, whole thesis in Chinese, which is almost impossible for me to write a thesis in Chinese. Although I was like I can speak a lot, but I was not that fluent in writing that thing. So then he said, "Okay, you can go to Taiwan. Taiwan, although let me clarify, many people don't know that Taiwan is not a part of China. It is a sovereign
Right.
country, and it has a different kind of culture, community, everything. Although the spoken language is same, it's Mandarin. It was once part of China, but it is having now it is a different country. So and Taiwan is very pro to Indians, and due to some reason, so I'm fortunate. So I end up having I applied, I end up having offer from four universities. The universities are good, so I choose one, that is National Chiao Tung University. But again, fine art, again, if you want to pursue fine art as a career, they also have a similar kind of thing that you have to pursue it in Mandarin. You have to write a thesis. So my choice, it was there, visual culture. So the Department of Social Science and Cultural Studies. So over there, so I took this topic, and I'm fortunate to have my professor, Professor Joyce Liu. She is still the director of humanities over there, and she's so kind person. And almost all of the Taiwanese professors, they are schooled in US. So speaking is not a problem, and they prefer to speak in English also in universities. Many Indians, they don't know. So that was a great opportunity. I enjoyed a good scholarship. I got my family over there. So, but it was struggle because I was having a kid, taking care of the kid, taking care of the family, going to university, and university you have to do some work because you're a scholarship student. You're supposed to do some work, and at the same time you are learning. You're writing a thesis. So there were time. I even few days back I was joking this to my brother and other people that I was having my son sitting on my lap. So part of my computer window, I am writing my thesis. I my thesis on half part. I played some, say, Popeye the Sailor Man or SpongeBob, these kind of things I played, just to
Yeah.
keep him
Right.
engaged over there. So it was
Right.
those kind of days. I remember that.
So yeah. So let's we were to talk about the confusion part of it, and that's where the most exciting part of today's session is actually, and probably a lot of interesting things will come out of the conversation. So where if you look at the confusion that is there around PhD and fine arts, there are two parts of the if you look at it, there are two parts of the story, two sides of the story. One side is the student side of the story, and the other side is the systems side of the story, right? So if we start with the student side of the story, so we were discussing prior to today's session that even the students have to have clarity about a why they at all should go for a PhD in fine arts, where there are other career options to pursue in fine arts, right? And where they should not have that confusion, or what kind of clarity that they should have when they are making that career choice. So if you can elaborate on that a little bit,
Yeah.
because you are
So
having students right now, right?
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. So again, I want to get back to the like from the start, because many of the audience, they are from the art field as well as people, they are not from art field. So just if we draw a line between this academic this field, so although it is all same, art is one, but there are distinctions. Major distinction is artist versus art historians or art researchers. Okay, so people who are coming from this crafts field, people who are actually very much skilled artists, sculptors, painters, graphic artists, and on the other hand, people who can write paper, who can do researches.
Right.
Now, these two completely two different people. So, if like, you are confused, if you mixed up these things, you must have the clarity what you want from this kind of thing. Now, if you look at this Western model, especially the American model, so America, this College Association of Arts, so CAA, so they established this MFA degree, Master of Fine Arts, in 1970s. And by and large, especially in India and South Asia, even in other parts of Asia, we follow that code from them. That MFA is the terminal degree in studio art practice. Okay, after your graduation and you pursue a career, you have this MFA, and then you can become an art educator, or you have these two choices. You can become a professional painter. As an art educator, you can also teach next generation artists your skills, as well as you can have a practice-based career. Many people pursue that, even today also. So that is very obvious. And for conventionally in India, we had that kind of setup. But then this notion of PhD, it came from UK. You have to understand that. In the 1980s, 19s, during that time, so what happened in UK also, they have a different model. UK, they have an art academy, say Royal College of Art, and then even London School of Art, those kind of things. We changed to University of Arts London, this kind of things we changed. This change, which is actually a merger of art academies, design schools, polytechnic institute, erstwhile these kind of institute, they are practice-based institute. They merge into university. So
I see.
whenever you are merged into university system, so that you are under one roof, and you are with you are standing. Your department is standing with other department, which is not so much practice-based but theory-based.
Right.
Natural sciences, say humanities. Humanities means professional like philosophy, psychology, sociology, English literature, linguistics. These kind of subjects are there standing. Although we are calling it one school of humanities, but we still have that kind of divisions. And then you have practice-based research, or maybe practice-based degree-oriented courses, which are like art courses, or design, or performing arts, or theater studies.
Performing arts.
Huh? So everything is coming under. So once you have that, the university they started having the same set of requirements to give you a job. That means if you are pursuing a career, so if you want to become a lecturer in, say, for example, mathematics, you must have a PhD. In other countries, if you want to be an assistant professor in mathematics or say chemistry or say physics, you must have a PhD. So then same requirement is now with the fine arts. So that problem came from there. And in India, it was early 2000. From there, this problem started. Although the PhD course, it was there. PhD course, it was in 1980s. By the time 1980s, some of the universities, namely Kala Bhavan, one of the earlier institute in India, who introduced
In
this course,
Visva-Bharati.
PhD in Fine Art. But it was not popular. It was never a popular choice. It was people who are mainly interested to know or learn actually, say epistemology or say art history or art theory or visual anthropology, this kind of subjects. They wanted to know, they want to learn. For them, there's a career choice, but never for a practicing artist or designer.
Right.
Say you have this SRFTI, or if you have this National School of Drama. I'm saying they are professors. I'm saying professor of acting. Will you ever ask, say, actor like Nasiruddin Shah that you have a PhD in acting, to teach, to
Right.
become a professor of, say, drama or theatrics?
Right.
So
Right.
similarly, in fine art also, the artists were always considered in that. And artists also, there is also a different sort of research identity or research
Right.
ideology,
Right.
which is there that artists will practice, studio art practice, and they will have a career, and it will be considered equal with the research. Now, what we are missing, what is there in the Western countries, if you look at this American university, many people give this example now that okay, they have this practice based. Now nowadays they have these two different type of PhDs. Many people they talk about that. I don't believe in that. Number one is practice based PhD. Number one, that is studio art practice based PhD. Whatever we're talking about MFA, it is the next possible step. That
Okay.
after finishing your MFA in a studio art practice, that means you practice maybe for 2 years at a university. You end result is that you will have a display, final display, or maybe solo show. You work for that, maybe in sculpture, maybe painting. That would be considered for a MFA degree, Master of Fine Arts degree. You don't need to produce a thesis. Number one. So the logical step is that to have a PhD in the studio art practice. Now, similarly, there's another stream which is there for long, which is the art history. Now, we know that art criticism, many renowned architects are there, or art theoreticians, or art historians. They do have a PhD.
Right.
That is must. It is absolutely, they cannot escape by saying, okay, I'm a practice-based painter. No. The research or publishing paper is absolutely necessary. Any country, if you go to even China, if you go to Australia, if you go to UK, if you go to Germany, Japan, anywhere, these choices are very, very much clear.
Right.
Confusion comes when it is expected from an artist to produce a paper, or vice versa, to an art
Right.
historian to have a public display. It is not possible. People are confused about that. What we should have the clarity is that if you want to have this kind of research, say, that is also possible. I'm not having a great against all these kind of things that studio art cannot be possible. Studio art only can be possible nowadays. Also, if you look at the curriculums for studio art, also you require to have a thesis. That thesis may be short in length, maybe 60% is your studio based work. At the same time, maybe 40% weightage is there for your thesis. But for that, what you require is that to have a strong UG course curriculum. Okay, so not only studio art practice, but you should have strong art history. Even for painters, say someone wants to become a painter, what you require? It's a strong foundation in artistry, strong foundation in art criticism, research potential. What is art?
Right.
How to do research? How to collect data? How to analyze data? How to conduct surveys if it's required? So that that training is not totally artistry based or totally studio art based. All the person is definitely getting a degree, BFA, Bachelor of Fine Arts. At the same time, the person will be having a solid grounding on research. So then the person can pursue an MFA, and then further the person can pursue a PhD. Without that, the dangerous factor where we are standing today is that many of our art colleges today, they have a very weak base in undergraduate research based
Right.
teaching. We don't have it.
Understood.
And
Understood.
many people, they are given points, although they are lacking that kind of thing, maybe they don't need to. I'd say it is not compulsory often, or even if compulsory, very less weightage is given for artistry or research based, those kind of things, maybe 80 to 20, or maybe 10 is to 1 or something like that. That kind of ratio is there. And then students definitely, they put more emphasis on becoming an artist, and right after having an MFA, they are asked to have a PhD, but
Right.
then they lack that kind of skill set which is there. They have a skill set which is obviously that their strong base of doing painting, sculpture. They are very conversant with the craft of making this kind of thing work. But at the same time, the skill set which is required to produce a PhD thesis, or even in future, if they become a professor, to supervise PhD thesis, which is also dangerous.
Yeah.
Which is also dangerous.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
don't know, so then that there the question comes.
Right, right. A pertinent question, asked by Ocean, is does a binary categorization between theory and practice on a pedagogical level contribute to this confusion? I guess you've sort of answered
Yes,
that
yes,
question actually. Yeah.
absolutely.
So
That is it.
so my question, what I was pondering about is like, when it comes to, so basically what we got out of it is, I guess, what according to my understanding is that, because there's this, that clarity from a student's point of view has to be there in terms of what kind of career am I primarily going to pursue, right? And if I am primarily going to be into performing arts in general, if I look at it, even visual arts, in terms of becoming a professional painter, then it may not necessarily be that I need to do an academic PhD, right? And if I want to do an academic PhD, then I should better know what I'm getting into, isn't
Absolutely,
it?
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So let me clear that up. So there are two career choices. One is practice based. You have to think about that, and another one is academic career, where you want to become a teacher,
Right.
maybe a lecturer, maybe an assistant professor. I'm not getting into this naming nomenclature, but to teach, definitely to have an academic career path. Now, uh, I think it is time in India where the students must think, student and also academics must think of out of the box ideas. So definitely one thing we must agree, in South Asia, there is not much as such as a what we call it market for art. It is not that average middle class. We have this middle class population, which is by and large, it is more dominating, right? So middle class population, they are not into art. You have to admit that. That means buying art or appreciating. From appreciation comes buying. I've seen, so I was when I was in Germany, I've seen that people, they are not into art. Say they are maybe studying library science, or maybe students, they are pursuing PhD in molecular biology. They are also interested in art, and they save their scholarship money to buy art. And art is also available every corner. You must have seen that in Western countries also.
Right.
In
Right.
US also, it is also very prevalent. People, they buy art from community centers. There are community colleges. There are
Right.
also
Right.
small art, say galleries which are there. Affordable art. Online also, there are a lot of art also, like handmade. It is not digitally reprinted art, but someone's creation. To have that kind of creation, if I can buy a book, books are nowadays, like if you go Western countries, books are often costlier than this kind of art. You can buy an art for $20 or $25. It's nothing. Even
Right.
often it's a day's meal is expensive than that. So, and you can definitely buy an art by a young artist. I've seen in Germany for maybe like I also collected some. So 20 euros is enough to buy a
Mm.
print, maybe graphic print, etching or lithography, these kind of things. And it is not that artists who are appreciating art. It is the middle class people. They are also buying into the art. And in South Asia, we miserably failed in that. Art never become a part. So like the cinema, other entertainment like cinema, music, which is part of our daily life, but art never was. I'm not talking about exceptions. Again, if you go to any art gallery today, I will be sounding very like kind of cynical, but you will only see people who are related to art as audience. Maybe they are maybe they are artists themselves, or maybe they are art student, or maybe they are friends with an artist, that's why they are ending up there. But it is not that from your own innate desire you are going there to just watch something.
Yeah.
It's just the same way, okay, I'm not related to cinema, but I'm watching say Rajkumar Rao's movie, or say I'll explore Karan Johar. I have nothing to do with
Right.
cinema, but it is just
Right.
because of that my love for cinema, or it's my life, so I'll buy a ticket and watch the movie, and it is free. And the funniest, ironical part is in South Asia, all the galleries, museums are mostly free. If you go to Western countries, you have to buy ticket. You have to pay for it. And still, I have seen by and large all the Western countries audience are mostly consist of average people. You will find lawyers, doctors, carpenters, people coming from corporate sectors, dentists, this kind of people, they are ending up watching the show. So, which is a big thing. It changed the course of people's life and how they educate the next generation of students, or
Right.
maybe kids. So that is there in the art academy. So from the art, sorry, in the school, I have seen that school children from the very beginning, at the age of say 5 or 6, at the young age of that, so they are taken to art academies to watch art at the very young age, and they are
Right.
guided by one art teacher from the same school. It is mandatory. Every week they have a museum visit or art academy visit. So they are
Yeah.
getting into that. We don't have that. So
They're
what we
developing
can
that
do?
taste, so to say.
Yes. So we should have a career choice which is very wise. People must gather the info. So there are other alternative career choice like graphic designers, illustrator, animators, a lot of different kind of career choice. There are nowadays corporate sector, they can offer you a bunch of jobs with that
Yeah.
kind of degree and expertise and skill set. So which
Yeah,
is
we need graphic
definitely.
designers too at Rax.
Yes, 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 yes. So that is something very obvious, which was not there in the previous generation. Nowadays, which is there. So people should choose wisely what kind of career choice they're getting into. And if they're in academia, they should think about the clarity. Okay, from the day one, if you're thinking that okay, after coming to art college, say for example, Kala Bhavan and several other institutes that offer that you just come there after having this foundation course, you can decide your career choice,
Right.
which stream you want to get into. Say whether it's painting, whether it's graphics, whether it's art history, whether it's sculpture. So that also very amazing. Say in a way, the students can get a choice after seeing, Acha, this is that, this is ceramic, this is sculpture, this is painting. So they can choose wisely whether they want to become an art historian from the very beginning. It is definitely a great choice for
Yeah.
them, so that they will create a career path from the very beginning. Or maybe if they want to have a solid base, but I think art history or research, it should not be ignored from the beginning. In the earlier days of the undergraduate courses, whatever course you are taking, maybe whatever college you are going, or maybe you are learning sculpture, or maybe you are learning painting or textile, but you should not ignore that there are courses, art history, art theory, research-based course should not be ignored, and people should pay more focus to that,
Right.
and they can learn a lot of things, they can understand a lot of things. Definitely they can hone up their skills, artistic skills, but at the same time research potential is very much needed. Who knows, but maybe they will end up going to a academic degree PhD.
Right, right, right. Also, I guess probably if not professional research, then even research methods, knowing the basic foundations of research methods
Absolutely,
helps,
absolutely.
even at a professional level, even if you're not going into any university academic kind of a job, I think. So,
Absolutely, it is much more.
so for those people who are, let's say, who are going now entering into a PhD, let's say they have the clarity and everything. So now they have to take up a research topic. Now this is something that I was very curious about because I know very, very little about this particular fine art domain. So how do people pick up? How do people select research questions? Or what is your advice? Like, how should people be picking up a research question?
Yes. So I think it is a very good question, and the foundation courses and also the courses being offered in PhD level. So there are specific courses which are being offered at PhD level. So that plays a great role, and the supervisor also plays a great role. And from your specialization, if you are say for example, if you are coming from a field like you are a trained painter, and you are drawn to some certain kinds of painting. So that can also be explored. Generally, what we lack here today is that if we just consider, say, for example, let me briefly tell you about my department, current department, which is the Humanities and Social Science, which is a wonderful department, and it is there from in IIT. It is one of the earliest department in IIT Kanpur and any other IIT. And fortunately, it was also modeled after MIT, and by the Americans. There are nine universities they actually designed and they started this IIT's foundation. So because of that, they also established this school. It is kind of, although we call it department, it's just a small school. Social sciences. We have this used to be six disciplines. So there are English, fine art, economics, philosophy, psychology, and sociology. There are six. Economics now they separated, they created a different department. Now we have these five disciplines. Now, if you look at that, so that structure, other students also like they influence a lot how they are doing this kind of research. So people who are directly coming from, we don't have a UG course here. It is a PG course. So students who are specially coming here, they have the liberty to take courses from anywhere. They can take
Right.
courses in philosophy. They can take a course in psychology or sociology,
Okay.
and they can learn different kind of things. And
Mm.
that is very important, I think, to learn and understand different ways, different methodology also, how people are taking up this kind of question. And this is fairly new in India. I think people should do this introspect from the specialization they are coming. Say if someone is like coming from textile design, they can explore that kind of field. And I think it will be very natural for them to find a research question which is actually there. But generally in India, we follow that course where MFA degree is there as a terminal degree in art colleges. And in MFA, there's a dissertation paper. Dissertation paper, which is somewhere 40 to 50% that weightage is given, maybe 30 to 50%, sorry. So the students, they invest maybe 6 months of time, maybe for doing that. I also did that. And right after that, they move into PhD. We don't have that bridge course. There should be a bridge course which would prepare the students for this kind of taking up things. Say, for example, other universities or may other disciplines, there's a thing called MPhil. MPhil teaches students like there's a 1 year course. It is in philosophy, in English, and psychology everywhere. So it prepares students to find the research question
Right.
or to write research papers, things like that. Even anyone can join, so they will be one step ahead of others. And while they are taking a PhD, so they can proceed from there. So it will be very helpful. We don't have that, and which is lacking. But I generally advise my students to take up different courses. Nowadays, NPTEL courses are available, online courses are available.
Right.
Don't get saturated. You can take as many courses as you want. There are online courses available. YouTube also, which is a great
Right.
resources. I would say,
Absolutely.
so they can offer a lot of different. We never had such kind of courses. Say, for example, courses in visual anthropology. You never know that subject exists. So then you attend this kind of course, maybe during a PhD or maybe before coming to PhD. That will open your eyes. Or maybe film study. A
Right.
person who has a specialization in fine art, say for example, painting or sculpture, I think they should take a course in film study. That can teach a lot. That can teach a lot how to look at cinema, how to read cinema, how to talk about visual communication. It's actually a moving picture. So that also can open up their eyes and also help them to find a right, I think, research question from there. Because it was not there because they're trained, especially I'm talking about the artists, especially fine artists, they're trained to follow a career path which is there to make them as an artist.
Artists. Right. 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 So
Yes.
there are some comments with which let us go, and one question, of course. So one comment is from Indranil Roy, and
Indra
he's,
Bhowmik, yes.
yeah, and he comments, the most dangerous part of making PhD compulsory is to foreclose the option of having practicing artists in academia. So we will end up his, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. I must talk about that. I know Professor Indrapamit Roy. So he's a very good friend, philosopher, and one of my mentors. So he is a faculty, a professor in MSU Baroda. So
Okay.
he was one of the key members who signed a petition, and this is something, some debate we must address today also. There's no need if you want to become an artist, and then if you want to become a teacher, faculty member there to teach your craft to the next generation of students. Definitely, you should have a research base. You will be able to write a research paper. You should have that proficiency, but not necessarily having a PhD. PhD will be forcing you to do that you are not supposed to do. Just for the job requirement, you are taking up a PhD, which is not say it's right. Okay, so then it is halfway done. Say tomorrow, if someone tell me that you should have a law degree to save your job, to have the next promotion, you should have a law degree. Like otherwise, you cannot save your job. So definitely, I'll be somehow halfway, or maybe definitely we try to avoid it, or maybe if I'm getting into that, so I'll be taking like I'll be doing a mistake to my career choice. It has
Right.
nothing to do with practice. It has nothing to do with my kind of research that I'm pursuing or the expertise that I'm having. And it is also giving a different message to the next generation that okay, okay, that means PhD is not enough. You must have a law degree. So we should start preparing for law degree. I'm just talking, no disrespect for law anyway. I'm just giving a metaphor. So similarly, PhD is something it should be hard earned, and at the same time, you should be motivated to have a PhD. If you are not motivated, you don't require one. So something which is like formulating a same type of formula or same type of career choice for everyone will be disastrous. And I think MFA is definitely one thing that we talk about for professional artists. But at the same time, I must say, if you have a career in art history or research base, that is also. If you why I'm talking about that, we can take example of University of California, Berkeley. If you go to their website or many Ivy League universities and most other universities in US, especially in Northern America, you see they have two different schools. They are not confused. They have two different schools of art. They have school of art. Under that, they have two different departments. One is practice based, studio based, or new media art. That all the professors they have degrees in MFA and all. Even in Berkeley, also they have this kind of thing. And then similarly, they have an art history department where the entry point is PhD. Now we want the like everyone to be same. It is like art historians should produce art. At the same time, artists should write papers. It is not the way. We should
Yeah.
have the clarity. We should have this kind of career choice for everyone. Not everyone's cup of tea. Like similarly, I'm say talking about PhD. It will be forcing them to do something they don't want. So
Right.
that's why, and also if you remember, I want to raise this issue that Professor Roy also addressing that in 2014, when there was a government dictate that everyone should have a PhD if you are aspiring for a university job as an assistant professor. So in protest, several artists all across India, art educators and esteemed artists, including Professor Roy and Professor Chhatrapati Dutta was one of them. So they signed a petition to the government to stop this one. So now in today's case also, although the government verdict is there, but at the same time, the ray of hope is that most universities, they are not forcing them. Say, for example, Kalabhavan, if you look at Kalabhavan, it is not that everyone or they are asking, it is desirable. PhD is desirable. At the same time, ITC also is a great example. IIT Bombay. ITC is one of the oldest design school in India, and they have this legacy of having that content. So if you look at the professors, I can name them. They don't have a PhD, but they become a professor. Say Shilpa Ranade is a great animator. She's coming from a background of art college background. Also Mandar Rane, who's a very renowned visual communication expert. So he's also coming from JJ School of Art background, but they don't have a PhD. But they are definitely, they wrote papers, they
Right.
wrote books, they are supervising
Right.
PhD thesis at the same time because they are conversing into that topic. what they are actually dealing with. So that is very much required. We should not be confused about and in that. And also, PhD should not be forced to get a job. It should not be a job
Right,
option,
right.
you can say. If you want to have a
So
PhD,
this is,
definitely go for it.
yeah.
You should prepare yourself, not because of you want to have a job.
Right, right. So there's a different question, which is more on the faculty side and the faculty openings. And this question is from Rishi Vishwas. And what's your opinion? He asks, what's your opinion about the fact that there are lesser number of faculty positions opening in art colleges across India, while number of students passing from these art colleges are huge, especially in undergraduate level? Right. And how can art student who is trained in practicing a practical aspect of the art can get inspired in toiling with a hardship involved in PhD when the chances of an incentive in the form of tenured faculty position is less, is meager?
I don't want to sound very political, but such things are we have dominating bureaucracy. They decide, and also the university they plays a great role. See, if you have a university department, IITs are very different. I must say, IITs they treat equally about the departments. The requirement for hiring a faculty is very different from university system.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly university system you have this kind of things that okay, there are science stream that is given more infrastructure, more emphasis on hiring faculty, but on then art stream and within the art stream, uh, fine arts. It's very sorry to say it's in the marginal section, marginal side. So it is coming
Mm-hmm.
when you end up filling all the posts in above all the departments, then there's a term maybe you are thinking about having hiring faculty in finance. So it's very unfortunate. It should change. That mindset should change. And also, I think the the answer lies where how you are educating people. The people who are taking the decision, they are not artists. Number one, they have nothing to do with art. You will never see a bureaucrat or a person who is into authoritarian level or a politician. They are coming from art background. But one thing is common that if they are going to school, they have, say, a science background mostly, and they have respect for science, which is there in India. Everywhere you go, science is certain degree. It is very prevalent and it is respected everyone. So everyone mostly coming from science. If you just talk about that, okay, IIT for example, JE is one of those things that you must prepare your kid accordingly, and then you send your kids for that. So more emphasis for science, and it is there in the school. So what IIT, especially IIT Kanpur, is doing that we for last, and by the way, fine art is there in IIT for last say 40 years. It is from more than 40 years, from 1970s actually. This started, and it was started as offering UG course, part of the humanities department. So we offer courses to the BTech students. Now, BTech IITians who are coming, so they have a choice of courses that they have to take, HSS courses. From there, they can choose between English or philosophy or psychology or fine arts. So, fortunately, they are all drawn to fine arts because there are a lot of different things that they can learn from that. So, we offer course, not studio-based course, but theoretical course. And these students, they are actually never wanted to become artists. Exceptions are there, definitely some of them good artists or good filmmakers, they are there, but majority will go for corporate life or maybe become a bureaucrat or decision makers, what we call it. So there, if they know what is art about, so then they can take the right decision. That is what the answer is. So what we lack in Indian education system is to teach them the necessity of art, what is art about, and the specialization, the career choice, everything. So it should be there, so that it's not that everyone who is taking that course will become an artist. No, maybe tomorrow they will become an IAS officer or helping maybe the secretary of say education secretary. Then they will feel that okay, art is also a great career choice, or maybe there should be more hiring. Why not? It will be equal number of faculties should be hired, like say mathematics, or say for example mechanical engineering, or say for example chemistry or physics. That is not true.
Right,
So
right,
until
right.
unless we have that, we cannot solve these things.
Right, right. One final question, and there will be. I know that there will be plenty of questions in, so I have already shared Ritwij's email address, so you can also ask questions. Let me just share my email address directly, and I will pass that on to Ritwij as well. So you can do that. But one final question for tonight, that I want to see Ritwij answer this question. So should it be considered then that this question is again from Ocean? Should it be considered then to take this up within academic institutions on the UG and PG level to include in the curriculum certain important aspects of research as a practice with a certain history opening up the idea that one may want to contribute to that evolving process through an art practice?
Absolutely. Definitely, and we should think about that to have this kind of their research methodology should be included, and visual communication design, which can be very good, important. The theories of visual communication design that should be included. Art history definitely, and not only art history of a particular region, but modern art history as well as ancient art history, Western art history, Far Eastern art history, which is neglected in
Mm-hmm.
India, but like Chinese or Japanese art history for that matter.
Right.
Very few schools today they teach that to UG students, and that is for specialized people. They are learning maybe their specialization in art history. But I think Indian art history definitely modern as well as ancient Indian art history. This kind of art history should be there. Archaeology, some papers in archaeology, museology, this kind of subjects should also be there in along with the studio art practice. I think it is also equally important to there should be a course where students should understand how to write a paper. So that is very, very important today. So maybe
Right.
write a paper, maybe it should have different sections like how to write a popular writing, or maybe how to write an academic article, how to write, say, grant, say, for example, grant proposals,
Grant
project proposals,
proposals.
those kind of absolutely not. You will never find that. Somehow, some professors exceptionally they are teaching that along with the research methodology paper, but it is not there. So such kind of things should be there. So artists should be able to write and produce research questions and also to publish paper. That is absolutely necessary. If you look at the concept, say for example, we had one of the best artists ever India produced, which is Professor KG Subramanian. So he's so like fabulous, amazing scholar, and you can find more books ever written by him than any other art historian out there. So I'm not talking about the doyens, but any average art historians, they're having a PhD. By the way, he was not having a PhD, but he has written so many books and papers. They are still guiding the next generation of researchers to
Right.
take up these issues like folk art, tribal art, or maybe art research questions, theory, these kind of things. So these things should be addressed in art curriculum, especially in UG. And UG creates the foundation. PG is just a 2 years course. PG, where you are finding your research question, mostly you are concentrating on having a specialization ready, and then you are ready for the next level. So UG is where you are catching them young, they are fresh out of the school, and you are preparing them from the next challenge. And after that, you prepare them in that way that they can even say, for example, why not say after graduating from say any art college, they can shift it to history. Tomorrow,
Yep.
if they want to say, okay, I don't want to pursue art, so I want to be a historian, or maybe I want to become a maybe what to say journalist. So they can take
Yeah.
up courses like MA in mass communication. Why not? Nowadays, that is not there
Yes.
because that proficiency is lacking. So you have to think about that. Our UG student will be at par with any of the students to compare with a student with a BA degree, BSc degree, BCom degree, and a BFA degree, Bachelor of Fine Arts degree, will be at par level. So we'll have the same
Right.
proficiency of speaking, of writing, understanding, formulating question and research. So that is absolutely necessary. No doubt about that. You can spend more hours than at studios, than in library, than actually finding books for your own
Absolutely.
quest.
Absolutely. absolutely. So kind of like we are at the we actually like spilled over. I'm very sorry to all of you that because it was so fascinating to have Ritwij to answer all these things, and it was so much of an enlightenment for me as well, because I don't belong to your community, but it was such an educative session for me personally. so so with this, we have to allow, tonight we have to close the session, and I thank Ritwij so much. And I have already shared for those people who are interested in in getting into higher studies, pursuing PhD or postdoc or something. So Ritwij has I've given the links over there, and I've also shared Ritwij's email address. Just use that particular email address, I guess, because Ritwij will be traveling. He will be abroad in within a few months, I guess. So
Yeah,
Ritwij, is
this
that
month.
the email address? Is that the email address that they should be contacting you, which is there on the chat? It's your Gmail address, I guess.
Yes. So
Okay.
before you
Yeah.
end, I just want to have this fishing section.
Yeah.
I always fish for talented. India is no doubt is a powerhouse of
You're
talented
right.
young people, and
Absolutely.
also the whole Asia. So we do have a program in Asian countries. So that Asian fellowship scheme, the link is already provided. So that is Asian students, they can come over and pursue a PhD in IIT. Now IIT, like I
Right.
said, we have two programs in IIT. One is a PhD in fine art, another one is PhD in design. I am in both, so you can contact me. The requirements are different. For international students, they can follow both. Say they can apply for both of these programs in two different departments, in HSS as well as design. So I'm in both, and you can contact me. Also, you can go along with this research, like the links which is posted above. And we are looking forward to hire good Asian, international students, even
Right.
students from
Right.
Bangladesh, from Nepal, from Bhutan, from Myanmar, from Malaysia, from Indonesia. In fact, we have three students, international students, one from Iran, who is pursuing his PhD in fine arts here. He is a ceramic artist who is currently here. And also one from Malaysia, one from Indonesia, who are
Great.
international students, but they are doing their PhD in English and linguistics, respectively. And similarly, we want to hire students, and also we have positions in postdoc. So people who are from related field, they can also apply. So no doubt about that. Like we have a very good opportunity here, full funded PhD programs as well as postdocs, and handsome monthly stipends are there, and other opportunities which are there. The link can be also searched for all the details which are given over there.
Great.
Um, and that's it. And I also want to thank again for taking this initiative, for giving me this opportunity. I'm honored to be
It's
in
our
this show.
pleasure.
Thank
It's
you,
our pleasure.
Sourish.
Yeah, thanks a lot, and all of you stay very safe, very healthy. Take your shots. The vaccine is out, and just take very good care of yourselves. Okay, so thank you. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.